More than any other state in America, Vermont has always been the sum of its local communities, like this one. That's what gives our state its legendary special character. Vermont's small-town quality and spectacular landscape are more than just pretty things to look at. They amount to a powerful economic resource. 8 million visitors from around the world came to Vermont last year. They spent $1.25 billion just trying to capture a fragment of the things that we enjoy each day. In fact, the Vermont image is a universal seal of quality. It moves goods produced by our state's businesses. It seems unthinkable that this image and the authentic way of life behind it could ever surrender itself to an outside economic force. And yet that's exactly what's about to happen. Suddenly, Vermont is in danger of dissolving into any state USA. Corporate hyperdevelopment has been working its way into our state for several years. But now comes the Colossus, the Walmart Corporation. The nation's largest retailer has finally targeted our state, the last holdout among the lower 48. A couple of stores up north, people are saying. What harm could there possibly be in a couple more discount stores? But that's just it. When Walmart moves into new territory, they have never stopped at a couple of stores. Their corporate policy is clear: to saturate and, in fact, dominate a market area. Experts are predicting that the discount giant will quickly hopscotch its stores southward, perhaps along Route 7, at midpoints between small towns with their central business districts. How do we quantify the costs and the benefits of such a saturation? Well, that's what a group of concerned Vermonters is trying to do right now. Their quest has led them westward to towns in America where Walmart has been established for years.
I think the land use issue actually has a much more negative effect on a community than the effect of Walmart economically. Traditionally, when Walmart moves into a town, they do not locate in an existing vacant structure, but they build a new structure, perhaps on the edge of town, that is a generic building, has no interesting architectural features. They generally spread a big parking lot in front of the store that detracts from the nature of the streetscape. One of the problems with the edge strips on the outskirts of towns where Walmarts tend to locate and other convenience or discount stores is that they do nothing to beautify the highways. In fact, they create some ugly outskirts of towns that are beginning to look generic from community to community.
Prophetstown has been hurt by Kmart, Walmart. The big malls now, they got 2 big malls down the Quad Cities, and they really do hurt us. You know, when people come into your stores and say, oh, well, I can get this cheaper at Walmart, I can get this cheaper at Kmart, there's nothing we can do about it because we cannot order as many as they do. You know, we're just a small town.
Our Walmart originally opened in the late 70s here in Lincoln, and in about 1989 relocated to the Enterprise Zone, which offered some economic development incentives for them, tax incentives. As a result, I believe, the downtown saw a change begin, particularly during the mid-'80s probably to early 90s. We have seen our JCPenney store downtown. We also had a Sears and Montgomery Ward store, and several department stores, regional department stores that have closed. We've also seen some consignment shops come in, and we had a downtown consultant come in and talk to us a little bit about what we could do to fill up our storefronts that were emptying out a little bit. We know what we need, it's just trying to recruit those downtown.
Well, in downtown Sterling, it's been a steady process of erosion. We've lost many businesses. Basically, I think the businesses have gone downhill, partially because of the fact that we have a shopping mall on the edge of town, which is a real common occurrence nowadays, and some larger discounters, of course, always come to a town our size, too. And I think that's had its effect on downtown businesses. It's a common thing all over the United States.
It's pretty typical for a Walmart to consume more than 100,000 square feet of land. That's more than 35 or 40 downtown businesses combined. And we're not even counting the parking, which could eat up another 10 acres. In a small state like Vermont, that's a lot of consumption of good land and a whole lot of asphalt. Now, let's jump 10 years into the future. Will this megastore have achieved the same timeless quality as that crusty old hardware shop that it forced out of business? Better hope so, because if it hasn't absolutely dominated the market, the store is likely to fold up and move out, leaving a ghost town behind. That's already happened in New Jersey, Texas, California, and several other states. How do you bring a dead town back to life? How do you peel away the layers of asphalt and recover the good land? What will become of our way of life when Walmart shareholders decide to close their stores down?
As I understand it, when Walmart is planning to locate a store, they look for a Kmart, and they locate next to it, because it's that kind of a customer, and then they undercut. Well, how long can you undercut? And when someone comes in like that and they're paying minimum wage, part-time, there's no employees being hired with benefits. There's no people that are going in there and have a career. There may be some, but it isn't a positive thing for your town to have those kinds of things coming in. They come into communities that are hurting. They come into towns where there isn't any money.
The kind of jobs that they bring, a lot of minimum wage part-time workers. When they were coming in here, they had their announcement that came out of Bentonville, Arkansas. Approximately 230 jobs will be created for area residents. Now, many of those are part-time. And if you work 10 or 15 hours a week and considered as an employee, it's not like working 40 hours a week.
When a discounter comes to town, then the smaller guys go out of business, many of them, so they don't really enhance the jobs that much. The people that leave the small merchant generally have to be employed by the discounter. So it's just a trade-off of jobs. The discounters like to say when they're coming to an area that they will hire a lot of people, but when they hire people, I don't know what the percentage is, but the percentage of people that are working a full 40-hour work week is fairly low in a discount operation, for the reason I would assume that it holds down the cost of fringe benefits. A 20-hour work week is not attractive to somebody supporting a family of 2 kids. Let's say a single mother just can't get by on that. And the benefits that she would receive with that discounter are probably restricted to maybe workman's comp and a couple of things like this. It's my understanding that hospital insurance is available to them, but they have to pay for most of it, I think. And once they do that, if they have just 20 hours of work, there's no way they can do it on minimum wage.
Now, let's be frank. A lot of Vermonters are going to hear that argument and say, well, that's too bad, but I can't control how much people get paid in any job. What matters to me is that Walmart is going to save me money as a consumer. Well, let's look at that. The hidden double whammy of this so-called savings bonanza is that in the long run, the consumer ends up paying more, even as the discount store employee ends up getting less. It works like this. Enter Walmart, exit the savings-happy shoppers from the downtown stores. Some of those stores are going to fail, maybe all of them. And when they vanish, so do the business and property tax revenues they used to generate. Who makes up the deficit? You do, because your town will have to raise taxes on your residential property. Is that savings on laundry detergent still looking quite as good to you? And don't forget the share you'll pay in public investment to revitalize that blighted downtown. But the loss goes far beyond mere dollars. When local businesses vanish, so do local business owners. And with them goes much of the backbone of Vermont community life. These are the people who sponsor a team in the Little League or the hockey program, who sit on the school board and the library board, and help run the fire department and the ambulance service. When the town's mercantile class disappears, everything sags in the middle. Sure, the corporate owner of a megastore likes to have its logo on the jerseys of a softball team, but when was the last time you saw a logo take a Christmas turkey to the nursing home? Let's listen again to the voices of experience.
What we're seeing is a change in the nature of the business mix downtown. We're embracing a multi-use, much more diversified downtown in terms of government and institutional locations downtown, as well as nonprofit and professional offices, and yes, of course, retail. Certainly when government buildings move in, that changes the nature of the tax base downtown. You also are losing some of the sales tax revenue. I think that's something that needs to be monitored, and I think you need to make sure that when you're losing revenue from one area, you're doing things at the city level to make sure that you're seeing increases in other areas.
Well, of course, the business buildings downtown are going to be paying a lot more dollars. The sales tax is going to be paying a lot more dollars than the average homeowner. So when the lady goes out of town and buys a shirt, she's taking any income from that shirt, which of course one shirt's nothing, but she's taking the income from that away from her community. So when you erase this tax base, it has to be made up somewhere, and it's made up on property taxes.
The towns that I have seen most hurt by Walmart are the towns that do not have Walmart located in the town, but have it located in another town within the county. Those are the ones that I think have been affected most negatively.
To find out about the cost of downtown disinvestment, we went to Sterling, Illinois. Here, 2 decades of creeping strip development at the edge of town devastated Sterling's downtown economy. And what are they doing about it? Urban renewal, tearing down the worn-out buildings so they can start over again.
In our town, there were so many empty buildings, as you see all across America, I'm sure, and the city fathers decided that something had to be done. We have been removing quite a few of the older buildings in the western part of our business district, and they hired a developer to try to attract an anchor-type store. As it worked out, it was a grocery chain with a large discount-type operation. And we have many acres of parking now at this point because all of those older buildings have been pulled down. We're hoping to attract other businesses besides just a grocery store. There's a big question mark as to whether a grocery store is going to be all that we need for the downtown area.
6 blocks wiped out. The project architect designed brand new brick storefronts, shiny imitations of the architecture the town had just bulldozed. But Sterling was denied even this faint theme park echo of its vanished glory. Why? Because the new anchor store, a warehouse grocery store, said that unless the city went with a big, faceless concrete box of a design, it would pull out of the deal. Oh yes, and with a lot of asphalt around it, for more cars. And who is paying the multi-million-dollar price tag? American taxpayers, many of whom are the same thrifty shoppers who welcomed the discount outlets in the first place. Can we learn from the experience of other states? States such as Missouri, which has 114 Walmart outlets, or Maine, which had none until 3 years ago, and now has 13, with 5 more in the planning process? Sam Walton himself, the chain's founder, proudly described this process as saturation and backfilling. Our senior senator from Vermont, the Honorable Patrick Leahy, has said, there is something unsettling about the process of Walmart, or any corporation, laying plans to saturate or backfill Vermont. The process has begun in St. Albans and Williston and St. Johnsbury and Bennington. But there is still time to save Vermont as a whole. Public opinion is beginning to turn around on the Walmart issue, from something like a 70% favorable edge late last year to 50-50 in recent weeks. You can be part of this turnaround. If you oppose a Walmart store in or near your community, form a group. Make your opposition known to your local planning board or Act 250 board. Write a letter to your local paper. Write letters to your state legislators. At the same time, take a good look at your local department store, your pharmacist, your hardware shop, your bookstore. Then try to picture your town with those storefronts boarded up. Is it a community anymore? Is it Vermont anymore? And who has pocketed the profits? And who will pay the cost? I'm Ron Powers.
Whenever I smell a meadow where buildings ought to be, got to roll up my limo window to avoid my allergy. 'Cause growing things is wasteful, farmland doesn't rate, so I'll turn these fields to factories and fly home out of state. I got this edifice complex, and I hate my Mother Earth. I'm the king of concrete thinking, and I'll get my money's worth. Old MacDonald's had a mall, E-I-E-I-O. And on this mall were lots of stores, E-I-E-I-O. With a big buck here and a big buck there, here a buck, there a buck, never more a live buck. Old MacDonald's had a mall, E-I-E-I-O. Give me a home where the rich slumlords roam, and the fawns and the cubs used to play. Where maples so tall were pastel in the fall, now the units are crowded all day.